the files would have been left with is what we see as Exhibit 2A. There would have been no Exhibit 2, including no handwritten notation by Admiral Poindexter.
That's correct.
Let's turn then, if we may, to the next document, which is FH Exhibit 3. That document bears the System 4 number 400215. And again, Ms. Hall, that is one of the numbers on the McFarland handwritten list, Exhibit 1, is it not?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
This was a document prepared originally on or about March 5, 1985. It is a memo from Colonel North to Mr. McFarland, and it pertains to aid to the Nicaraguan resistance from a certain Central American country, the name of which has been deleted from the unclassified version of this memo. Now, in this memo, as we see from reading it, Colonel North proposes to Mr. McFarland that Mr. McFarland send a memorandum to the Secretary of State, to the Secretary of Defense, to the Director of Central Intelligence, and to the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, asking for their views on increased U.S. assistance to this Central American country, and proposing that such increased assistance be given. Colonel North then goes on in Exhibit 3 to say to Mr. McFarland that the real purpose of the proposed memo to the cabinet officers would be to find a way to compensate the Central American country for the extraordinary assistance that that country had been furnishing to the Nicaraguan freedom fighters by facilitating the delivery of lethal assistance, weapons, through the provision of false end-user certificates. And Colonel North goes on to point out to Mr. McFarland on page 2 of Exhibit 3 that the proposed memo to the senior cabinet officials does not refer to any of those arrangements which had been made by the Central American country to help the freedom fighters. The recommendation is that Mr. McFarland sign the proposed memo to the senior cabinet officers and send it along, a memo which contained, as Colonel North put it, no reference to the real purpose of the recommendation. And then, as you'll see, there were various attachments, the first being the proposed memo to the secretaries, the DCI, and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, the second being copies of the false end-user certificates, and the third being a wish list of military equipment requirements for the Contras, which Colonel North also refers to in his memo to Mr. McFarland. And again, as far as you know, Ms. Hall, you would have prepared this document, that is, typed it for Colonel North back in March of 1985.
Yes, sir.
Now let's look then at Exhibit FH3A. It bears the same System 4 number as Exhibit 3, does it not? 400215?
Yes, sir.
Only it's on the letterhead that you wouldn't have used in 1985, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that looks like your N next to Oliver North's name.
Yes, sir.
The subject is the same subject as Exhibit 3 in its 1985 manifestation, namely aid to the Nicaraguan resistance by the same unidentified here Central American country. Only now that two-page memo has been reduced to 2 paragraphs, the first of which tells Mr. McFarland that there is a proposed memo to the senior cabinet members asking for their views on assistance, increased assistance to the Central American country, and the second of which simply says that your memo, Mr. McFarland, also urges that we provide the assistance and the approve box is checked. And again, you recall that it would have been you who checked the approve box on Exhibit 3A.
Yes, sir.
Now, I notice that Exhibit 3A, although it no longer refers in text to the real purpose of the attached memo or to the end-user certificates, continues to attach or to indicate an attachment of end-user certificates and the wish list of weapons for the Contras, all reference to which had been deleted from the memo itself, correct?
Yes, sir.
We've talked about that. Can you account for why the end-user certificates and the military equipment wish list were left in when the references to them were the object of Colonel North's deletions?
All I can say is it emphasizes the fact that I didn't read the changes that were being made, or else I would have realized to remove the attachments, and it also emphasizes the fact that Colonel North, to my recollection, did not give me any further instructions other than to change them.
You were uneasy while you were making these changes, weren't you?
I felt a little bit of uneasiness when he asked me to do it, but again, as I've stated, I believe in Colonel North, and I know that there must have been a good reason why he was asking me to do this, and I did as I was told.
Did you know at the time that Colonel North asked you to do this that the President of the United States had asked the Attorney General to make an inquiry into the facts concerning the delivery and sale of American weapons to Iran?
I did not recall that, no.
Did Colonel North mention to you that he knew the Attorney General had been asked to undertake that assignment and would be coming to the office to review documents, or that his representatives would be coming the very next morning?
No, sir.
You did not know any of those things when you made the changes that Colonel North requested, right?
No, sir.
While you were making the changes, did anybody come over to your desk?
Yes, sir.
Who was that?
Commander Craig Coy.
And what did you do when Commander Coy approached your desk while you were altering the documents?
I turned the documents over, face down.
Why?
I felt that it was my policy not to expose or talk about what I was doing, and I felt that I didn't know whether Colonel North had shared with Commander Coy what he was doing, and I felt that it wasn't my place to show Commander Coy what I was doing.
You weren't totally comfortable with what you were doing, were you, Miss Hall?
I would say that I wasn't totally comfortable, yes. But as I've said before, I believe that Colonel North had a good reason for doing what he was doing, and I'm not going to question that.
He didn't tell you what that reason was?
No, he didn't.
Let's take a look now at Exhibit FA